My next guest became a millionaire by the age of 26. By 33, he was bored with his success. So one day, while sitting on the beach in Hawaii, he came up with the idea for the International Business Network. Now, he combines buying and selling businesses for himself with offering his expertise to other small business owners. I'd like you to meet a man who practices what he preaches, Gordon Bizar. Hi, and welcome to Success Stories.
Janet, pleasure to be here.
The key to success, you say, is being able to buy companies without using your own money.
Right.
How did you do that?
Well, as a young fellow, not too long out of college, I moved here to California, and I found a small manufacturing company that I wanted to buy. And Janet, when I sat down with the owner of the company, he told me he wanted $500,000 for the company.
That's a lot of money.
Well, to a young fellow, those are telephone numbers, never mind dollars.
Right.
But we spent a good deal of time negotiating, and finally, after about 3 months of constant talking, he agreed that he would sell me the company for $150,000 cash down. And the balance, $350,000, I could pay him that over a period of, say, 5 to 7 years in the form of an installment note, monthly payments of principal and interest. Now, I knew that the profits of the business were sufficient to meet the payments on the note. My problem is, where do I get that $150,000 of upfront cash for the down payment on this business?
Yeah, where did you get it?
Okay. Well, we got to do a little creative finance. As it turned out, the inside this business that I wanted to buy are what are called hard assets: machinery and equipment, accounts receivable, inventory. And inside this company were about $300,000 worth of these hard assets. And I found out that by going to an asset-based lender, finance company, for lack of a better description, that once I owned the company, I could pledge those assets as collateral for a loan. And they would loan me up to 80% of the value of those assets, or 80% of $300,000 was $240,000. So in other words, once I own the company, I can pledge the assets as collateral and raise $240,000. But of course, I still don't have the $150,000 to buy the company, so I can take the assets, pledge them, and raise the $240,000.
It's like a catch-22.
Right. But I knew I was halfway home, and I did a little more research, and I found out that I could go to a bank and get something called a swing loan. In other words, I could borrow $150,000 from the bank in the morning, give that to the seller as the down payment on the business that made the business mine, then take the assets in the afternoon, which were within the business that I just bought, pledge those to the asset-based lender, raise the $240,000, and then from the $240,000 immediately repay the bank their $150,000, leaving me with $90,000 in my checking account, which is now, of course, going to be working capital for me to actually build the business. Now, when I went to do this, however, I sat down with my banker, and I explained to him my great plan, and he looked at me across the top of his horn-rimmed glasses, and he says to me, "Now, Mr. Bizar," he says, "you don't seriously think we're going to loan you $150,000, do you? You don't have any kind of a credit rating that would even remotely warrant us making that kind of a loan." And so I smiled at him, and I said to him, "I thought you were going to say that. So what I want you to know is I'm going to set this loan up for you so it will be risk-free. The money's never even going to leave your hands, and we're going to do it through what's called a double escrow. In other words, Mr. Banker, right here at your bank, you're going to put your $150,000 into escrow A. And when escrow A closes, the money's going to be released directly to the seller, and he'll be paid his money for the down payment on the business. In the meantime, I'm going to have the asset-based lenders put their $240,000 into escrow B. When escrow B closes, $150,000 will be released directly from the escrow to you. The other $90,000 will come to me. Since you, as the banker, are going to hold both escrows here at your bank, and since both escrows are going to close at the same time, you're never going to be out your money even for a second, because as loan A releases the $150,000, escrow B takes it right back in again, and on that basis you have no risk, and there's no basis for you not to make me the loan."
And so did he agree?
He smiled, and he made me the loan, and that's how I bought my first company with none of my own cash, even when I had no established credit.
But it sounds too simple.
Well, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. I try to condense into 2 or 3 minutes what it normally takes me 2 hours to explain in great detail to folks that I train how to do these things to. But the key thing here, Janet, and this is the important thing, is there are a lot of people out there who have this dream. It's the American dream, to be your own boss, to go into business for yourself, to do it your way, to punch your time schedule rather than somebody else's, to get out of the corporate maze and out of the cog in the wheel and into being an entrepreneur in your own right. And the biggest single factor that keeps most people from doing this is the realization on their part that they don't have the cash, the capital. And if a person is not going into business because he doesn't have cash or capital, he's not going into business for the wrong reason. You don't need cash or capital, you need know-how. And it's know-how, financial know-how, that virtually anyone can learn.